the left cannot communicate. Donald Trump, MAGA, and conservatives in general have nailed the art of communication, even though their policies do way more harm than good, including harming the very people who voted for them. But they still continue on winning. Why is that? Why can't the left, even with their supposed goals rooted in fairness and morality, with mountains of data backing their policies, why can't they convince voters to actually vote for them? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Simplicity wins. Emotions, not data.
Build the wall. We have no choice. We have no choice. We are going to Washington, D.C., and we are going to drain the swamp.
The left has nothing like that. And when the left did, yes we can, healthcare for all, etc., it clearly resonated with voters. It drove them out to vote for those politicians who supported those ideas, or at the very least, constantly talked about those ideas. But at least since 2016, there has been nothing that the left had that even came remotely close to those older and more effective slogans. Attempts were made, but many backfired. And judging by the most recent election results, they did significantly more harm than good. I know I will get a lot of hate from my friends on the left, but this needs to be addressed. Black Lives Matter was a very catchy slogan, yes, but it was also a very divisive slogan because it immediately put people who weren't black or college modernist political theorists on guard. Keep in mind, most voters don't pay attention to politics 24/7 like political activists and commentators do. Regular people at most have 30 minutes a night to spare watching their pundit of choice or even their local news. And that's even if you're lucky. When these everyday voters heard Black Lives Matter, they were thrown off. And then if they objected to the slogan, they were chastised and called racist for even thinking that the slogan was wrong. This alienation and accusations of racism drove regular voters who barely pay attention to politics away from the cause, and once again, the right swooped in and claimed all lives matter as their slogan. As much as you may hate it, that slogan is way better, especially at getting people who do not pay attention to politics to pay attention. This was a golden opportunity for the left to steal that slogan back and use it for their own cause. But they didn't. Because at the very basis of this slogan, All Lives Matter, the simple idea behind it is that all lives matter. That's all the left needed to do.
But instead, the left used deep political analysis and complex nuance to explain to everyday voters why all lives matter is racist and why Black Lives Matter is correct. While I do agree with the Black Lives Matter movement and that we needed to focus on racial injustice,
the fact that a political slogan needed an explanation was lunacy. No slogan should need an explanation or political theory or even data to back it up unless you want to lose an election. Slogans should never need an explanation. They should be instantly understood and repeatable. Slogans should make you feel something. And that feeling is then used in those same voters to go out and vote. Trump and MAGA do not care about nuance, but they do care about catchy slogans because they work. Build a wall, drain the swamp. Everybody, left, right, knows these slogans by heart. Trump doesn't dive into political theory because he knows the average voter isn't listening for complex political analysis. His slogans are simple, memorable, and more importantly, chantable.
Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
I know you may not take me seriously on the chantable part, but it matters. If a solution to an issue can be touted over and over and over again loudly by the voters, then that message and solution can also spread easily to other voters. Look at how quickly slogans can spread. Even from my previous example of Black Lives Matter, that movement spread like a California wildfire. It was easily remembered by all who heard it. Yes, we can. Or this next one almost took off, but Kamala gave up on it. Listen to what she missed out on.
America has tried these failed economic policies before, but we are not going back. We are not going back. Not going back. We're not going back.
We are not going back. Why, for the life of me, was that not the slogan for the full campaign? Instead, Kamala went with a new way forward. A new way forward. What does that even mean to a regular voter? That is the most nebulous statement that was conceived by an emotionless droid political committee.
Not going back. We're not going back.
That slogan right there made the voters feel something. Once again, the biggest enemy to the left is themselves. What the left can learn from MAGA. Blaming low information voters is easy, but it's not their fault. The real fault lies in politicians who have failed in their messaging. Again, how can someone work in a full-time job with kids possibly follow politics like activists, commentators, or politicians with a full-time staff? They can't. That's why the best politicians simplify complex issues into clear, digestible messages, even when their ideas are terrible. Trump and MAGA follow a clear formula. Acknowledge a problem. What is the cause of the problem? And here's the solution. Problem. Let's take the most basic of MAGA slogans and apply it to this and see how well it works. Immigrants from Mexico are pouring in and are destroying this country. In Trump's famous words,
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
as much as you may hate this message, this resonates with a lot of low information voters. But the main thing that Trump does here is he acknowledges the problem. Even if the problem is not real or the scope of the problem is exaggerated, this resonates with a lot of people who, for a long time, did not hear any of this from any other mainstream politician. And then Trump comes along and starts saying it as it is, which it isn't. But this made a lot of people felt heard. And once people feel that they're being heard, then they are more open to listening to you. And if they are listening to you, then they are open to being persuaded. Now let's contrast this with how Harris and Biden handle the inflation issue. Biden could not communicate for the life of him, or lack of life, let's be honest.
But for Harris and her campaign, she tried distancing herself from Biden, but her positions were more or less just the status quo positions from before. But she was trying to pass it off as some revolutionary economic ideas, which was not true, and it just came off completely disingenuous. And voters can tell when they're being lied to. Kinda. Let me explain. More explanations. Cause of the problem. So voters can tell when they are being lied to, but unfortunately, the low information voter is also easily manipulated. And once again, Trump and MAGA do this phenomenally. When Trump claims Mexicans are coming in droves, he doesn't just leave it at that. He claims that Democrats are responsible for every illegal immigrant in the United States. Even though Obama has deported way more illegal immigrants than even Trump, and the fact that Trump was the one telling Republicans not to pass a bipartisan immigration bill so he can use it as an election issue, it does not matter to him nor MAGA. This is what I mean by truth mattering, kinda, because in the end, it doesn't. But what does matter is conviction in that supposed belief or accusation. Trump says his lies with such conviction that it comes off as the truth. Hence, the "he tells it like it is" remarks from people. And his lies are also very simple, unlike the convoluted reality of complex political issues that the left always tries to explain.
Your average voter is not going to listen to a Democrat explaining market forces and international market trends. All they are worried about is the price going up. A better tactic for the left would have been to keep it simple.
First, acknowledge their pain and the increasing prices that inflation has caused. Second, blame Trump and his failure at handling COVID and passing corporate tax cuts, which then caused a ripple effect throughout the economy that set the average American up for failure and the resulting high prices that these very same voters are experiencing right now. No need to be complex or get into details. The problem for the left should always be conservatives are something that conservatives have caused. Not lie necessarily because we don't want to be degenerates like them, but trying to tie it all the way back to Trump and MAGA and why their life sucks right now is because of Trump and MAGA. Because that is exactly what the right does, except they actually lie. Just look at how they were able to lie about Obamacare and the ACA. The ACA routinely polls significantly higher than Obamacare, to the point where we have voters wanting to get rid of Obamacare but wanted to keep the ACA, when they are the exact same thing. The right are masters of marketing. Again, keep it simple. Solution. The last thing that the left can learn from the simpleton that is the keratin cretin is that there should always be a clear solution to any problem, even if there is no clear solution to a problem. Because a lot of political problems are very complex, but the average voter does not care about that. All they care about is, how is this horrible problem, real or not, how is it going to be solved so I feel better? Trump's solution is always Trump, and when it's not Trump, then the solution, like mentioned earlier, is an effective slogan like build a wall or drain the swamp. But guess what? This simplicity for a solution works. But the left solutions are once again mired in convoluted political theory, or worse, it accuses people of being too stupid or too racist to understand, which sometimes is the case, but most of the time it's just bad messaging. As unfortunate as it is, people want solutions to be simple. Simple is also easy to understand. And if it's easy to understand, then people are more welcoming of those solutions, even if those solutions may not be fully in depth. These are trying times, not just for the left, but for the country as a whole. Clear and powerful messaging is deeply needed from the left. Because if we see what January, February, and now March has been like, and the spineless complacency to the Trump administration that the ruling Democrats have had so far, democracy in the U.S. will be unrecognizable. We need new leadership. Leadership that can communicate effectively and address the issues of all American people. Do better.